what he believes to be of quality. But there is Unseen by Most, an episodic horror-based TV show, a show that still holds up, a show called Tales from the Darkside.
It's not fun being old, son. You worry about things. Now, just yesterday...
I'll fix the porch Saturday.
I'm not complaining, but a rotten board is like a Eat your bran.
Mom, you gotta get off my back.
I'm your mother. That's where I belong.
Hey, what's up, and welcome back to Talks from the Darkside, the podcast where we talk about Tales from the Darkside, the 80s horror anthology television show created by Richard Rubenstein and George Romero. I'm Joe Lascola.
And I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Today we're talking about Grandma's Last Wish, directed by Warner Shook and written by Jule from June 16th, 1985.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, my neck is just killing me.
Were you doing cartwheels down the stairs again?
It's all those gymnastics.
Yeah.
On poles and whatnot.
Yeah.
I stepped on the porch outside and almost broke my rump.
Oh, you know what? You should have signed up for those dance lessons.
I mean, I love Buzz, folks.
You keep swinging around on those bars like a monkey instead of, dancing.
Yeah.
Did Buzz call you back, though? No?
We don't talk about Buzz.
Okay, all right, sorry.
But yeah, Grandma's Last Wish. I gotta take this off now.
It's pertinent to the plot. So I want to talk a little bit about the director. Usually there's some things about the director and the writer for this, right?
Yeah.
So Warner Shook not only directed 3 episodes of Tales from the Darkside and 2 episodes of Monsters.
Oh, okay.
But he also plays Richard in Creepshow in the Father's Day segment.
Happy Father's Day!
Ain't life grand, Miss D?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Jule Selbo wrote for Monsters, the 90s Flash television show, Melrose Place, Angela Anaconda, Adventures of Young Indiana Jones, and a bunch of direct-to-video Disney sequels.
Okay.
So it's kind of, that's a lot of credit. Like, that, that's a lot of stuff.
I hear Disney, and I'm like, all right, good for you.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So, again, I just want to say that Chris Bahr will not be, obviously he's not here for this episode, but he will be joining us on the next episode, The False Prophet, and then, of course, into the second season of Tales from the Darkside.
So in his stead, much like the last episode, I will be reading the Fangoria synopsis. And again, Chris, hope you enjoy my rendition of it. When her neglectful and inconsiderate family decides that Grandma should be shipped off to a rest home, the elderly woman gets one last wish. Grandma's request to make her callous clan understand the trials of aging is granted in typical Darkside fashion, courtesy of some strategically applied old age makeups. Well, Bangor, you kind of gave the goat away on that one a little bit, but okay.
That's the whole great part of the episode. That's the punchline.
Well, yeah. We know how it goes with these.
Well, that's it. We're done here.
Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. No. 2-minute video done. Now, there's some holes to fill there, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so we open up with Jane Connell as Grandma, and Grandma's kicking it, dude. She's listening to her music. She's sleeping on the couch, is what she's doing.
Hey, we get some kind of visual storytelling here at first. Pictures on the shelf of, assume it her past husband,
the bygone era.
Yeah, and she used to be a dancer, which she brings up constantly.
A very famous dancer on Broadway.
Which they do pepper some old names throughout, which I don't know if we'll bring up specifically or not, but it's kind of cool to kind of like story build on real events. Yeah. I like that a lot.
Connect the dots, yeah.
But yeah, just like that synopsis, her family wants nothing to do. Much like I thought of the Hug-a-Bunch that we did in season 1. They just wanted Grandma to go out to pasture. This is like very much the same situation.
It's very similar, but this family is just terrible. To these people, like Grandma, Grandma's cognizant in this, and like Grandma's also is even more so cognizant in Hug-a-Bunch.
Well, 100%. The family's not. The family just thinks they're helping her out in Hug-a-Bunch and realize, whoops. In this, it's like they don't have nothing to do with it the whole time.
They're trying to scrape her off for sure. Yeah. So we get introduced to Greta, played by Kelly Wolfe, who is her granddaughter. and right out of the fucking gate, she is flipping into frame through the door, and she screams. Oh my God, this woman's voice, or this girl's rather.
I mean, the whole family is very over the top and they're pushing your buttons as a viewer.
It's supposed to be, and I get that, but like it is grating. And she's screaming about her boyfriend calling, and she's waiting for him to call. Buzz, yeah.
Yeah.
Buzz, your girlfriend, woof, yeah.
Meanwhile, Grandma's like, oh, you should take some dancing lessons. I was a beautiful dancer. You have talent in your genes.
Tell me about your day at school. Why don't you there, sweetheart?
Meanwhile, whoa, Grandma, whoa! Turn the TV down, Grandma!
So then we get introduced to Kate McGregor Stewart, who plays May. Now, this woman is I'm very familiar with because she's in other episodes of Tales from the Darkside and Monsters. So, and she's also in Scrooged. So you know that joke I always say, oh, you can hardly see them nipples. That she's like the production manager or somebody on set, and she's like, that girl's nipples are out or whatever, and the guy's like, you can hardly see them nipples. Okay. And then they fucking hit her in the head with that ladder.
That's her?
Yeah.
It's getting the shit beat out of her? Oh, wow, that puts this episode in a different context.
And then like starts making out with John Glover like on his lap. Yeah.
Well, she's also really, again, not to keep saying that they're all annoying. Her whole thing is like, she's on the phone with her friend. She's like, oh, yeah, Becky, there's a bulldozer knocking down your house. I would say put the kids in there.
She's hilarious, man. She's also in the Monsters episode, Mr. Schlauber, with the little kid from Honey, We Shrunk the Kids, where he where he finds this little monster in a cereal box. One of my favorite episodes. Can't wait to get to it. She's also in Comet Watch with Fritz Weaver and the guy from Deep Rising, the bad guy from Deep Rising.
Oh, shit.
It's a very good episode.
Sign me up. We'll get there.
Great.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But like, she keeps calling Grandma, and I just have to mention that because my uncle does that to my grandpa all the time, and I always thought it was weird as hell. It's like, there's like a 10 or 12 age difference between my uncle and my grandpa. He's like, oh, it's Grandpa. So I was just like brought to my real life for a moment there where it's like, call her Ma. Just call her Mom. Why are you going to Grandma constantly?
Mom. Right?
I guess people do that. I just that made me think of that immediately.
Maybe when they're speaking to
the kids,
yeah, Grandma said or whatever, you know what I mean?
She's
or
like,
you have respect your grandmother or something like that.
Yeah, there's a great joke here though, because she's like, well, there's a couple back-to-back good jokes here where she's like, Grandma, go just turn the TV on. I'm on the phone.
Did you get the olives that I told you about? I put the olives in the pantry, but they weren't there. And I looked in the fridge, and where you should take dancing lessons, Greta.
Grandma, you left your toothbrush in my bed again. I'm like, what? Huh? Oh, okay.
Did I leave my toothbrush in your bed?
And then she's like, Grandma, you wasted all the paper towels and you didn't tell me, which comes up in a second.
Did you get the lettuce for the sandwiches?
And no one even wants to listen to this poor woman. So I love how she goes to turn the TV on because she's just trying to be placid to everybody, like, you know, to do what she's told, just to not start any arguments. And the fucking the volume knob rips off,
and it's just blaring. And May is on the phone with her friend, and she's like, "Jesus, Grandma, turn down the TV. Why do you gotta have it so loud?" Meanwhile, fucking Greta comes downstairs yelling about Buzz and her boyfriend and like waiting on a call and like wanting to get her own line, and this girl is screaming bloody murder, and it's just so. The cacophony of shit happening is like mind melting.
Yeah, it's somehow more like the brain breaking than the fucking alarm in Bigelow's Last Smoke.
Big time.
But just the punchline on that paper towel line, we cut to Grandma in the kitchen like making breakfast for everybody. Their bran flakes or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's cleaning up a mess, and she's got the paper towels are at the cabinet, like a few feet behind her, and she's pulling all the paper towels, like 30 of them, to clean up this little tiny spill, and then shoves like 30 paper towels in her robe so she doesn't get yelled at.
It's the funniest thing. And Dad finally walks in.
This guy's a fucking, a blank or a carpet, rather.
Yeah. So he comes in and she's like, "Oh, you gotta fix the floorboard out on the deck there." And he's like, "Ma, you're always telling me what to do." And she's like, "Why don't you just get off my back?" And she's like, I'm your mother. That's what I'm supposed to do.
That's where I belong.
That's where I belong." So he's like trying to eat donuts and shit. She's like smacking his hand the whole time. It's the fucking family's coming in and breakfast is just weird, and Grandma's just like mumbling to herself.
And the olives.
The olives and the lettuce and okay, whatever's.
I told you, Grandma, I forgot the lettuce. You'll have to live. It's like, what an asshole.
Deal with it, Grandma.
And even Greta's like, why do we gotta eat bran flakes? This is disgusting, Grandma.
Greta comes in dressed like a fucking Cyndi Lauper music video. And she's like, you gonna go out dressed like that? And she's like, well, what about the traffic? I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. But that's also like that stereotypical like teenager in the 80s trying to be rebellious.
Yeah. So yeah, they have the whole exchange and like Grandma's like, it's not fun being old. So she finally is like fed up with everybody like just dumping on her. So she like leaves her walker and they're like, what are you doing, Grandma? You walking out with your walker? And she's like, I don't care, fuck it all. She trips over Dad's briefcase and just almost eats shit like right into the floor.
I'm sorry, I fucking laughed out loud when that happened. Whoa!
It's fucking sad, dude.
It is.
Because Grandma has finally like given up like talking to people. Oh, she also can't hear well. So every time they talk to her, she's like, what? What did you say?
Yeah.
They finally are like, okay, Mom, it's time for you to, that talk we had. And she's like, no, I don't need olives. I don't need lettuce. I'm good. Look, butter's in the fridge.
Yeah.
And they're like, Mom, we got to talk about you going to the home. And she's like, I'm not going to the home.
So, and that's the thing where it's like, like you even said earlier, like she's totally cognizant. She just can't hear, and no one wants to listen to her, so she's got to constantly repeat herself. But they think, Grandma, we heard you the first time. Lettuce, we get it.
Yeah, shut up, Grandma. Get out of here.
You only said it 10 times, but we finally acknowledged you.
It's shitty.
Yeah.
And she always wants to just like sit with them and talk and stuff like that, and they can't be fucking bothered with Grandma.
So we flash forward to later that night where the guy's coming in and
God.
pitching her on this with the projector and everything.
Talking about tranquil gardens. It's the hippest spot. It's real humdinger hills. It's great.
Yeah, played by Greg Itzin. He's a that guy. He's in a ton of shit, but specifically what I know him from is from 24. He played President Charles Logan, this real piece of shit character, if you know what I'm talking about.
Greg, we had a baby Itzin boy.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. And he's got this little like happy face button on. I don't know. It's just weird extra detail.
He's like dressed like Buddy Holly, trying to make her feel comfortable. Like,
hair slicked back.
It's a real 23 skidoo down at Pleasure Valley or Tranquil Hills, whatever.
I call it humdinger heaven. It's like, well, that's really making her want to go.
He's like, we got all the major hits from 1930 on. And he's like, look, they're doing a slideshow. And I love the one where there's like an old lady playing piano. And they're like, look how fun that looks. And he's like, and it comes with a billiards room. And they're like playing pool. And he's like, rack them up, Grandma.
I love how too, like he starts listing off all the amenities, and he's like, "Well, for $649.99 a month," and he's like listing them off: refrigerator, laundry. He's like, "Oh, and pay for toilets," and the family's like, "That was a joke."
It's like
it comes with the plumbing comes with it.
He's like, meals extra, medical extra, refrigerator, $12 a month extra, and paid toilets.
Yeah, and I love Grandma the whole time, and I don't blame her. It's just like.
Yeah, because again, she's not an invalid.
No.
Like she's fine. They just don't want to be bothered with her anymore.
So then, they get her to sign the paper begrudgingly. And they're like, all right, Grandma, it's our last week together. We'll do. What's your last wish, Grandma? We'll make it happen. We'll try our hardest to make it happen.
What's Grandma's last wish, TM? Here we go.
Meanwhile, they're like rubbing Elmo's like, woohoo! Whoa, Grandma's eating out here. We're never going to hear about these fucking owls again.
Grandma just cracks a smile across her face.
And then, like, the inner monologue, I know what my last wish is. It's like, uh-oh.
So, basically what happens from here to the end of the episode is that Grandma becomes, like, revivified, and everybody else gets old.
It's a little weird. I'm a little confused about the details on this.
Okay, hit me. What?
It's, like, too many things. Like, is her wish... I guess it was kind of spoiled by Fangoria, but, like... Yeah. For the family to feel like her because she's constantly ignored because of her age.
Yeah.
But also, like you said, she's kind of like re-energized. Like she doesn't need the walker anymore. She's a little bit more, but almost like she's a little bit more with it, for lack of a better
exuberant.
term. Yeah.
Maybe not exuberant. I know what you're saying.
She can hear fine now. She doesn't have to yell.
I can't find the word.
Yeah. Meanwhile, her family... Polar opposite. Yeah. Dad gets a hibachi grill dropped on his head.
Dad's got a hibachi on his head.
Mom has this like great scene where she's like, these floors are waxed so nice, I could do a commercial. And then she like points at the screen like off breaking the fourth wall. I thought that was funny as hell.
And then she breaks her leg.
Yeah.
She like falls down. They're getting liver spots on their hands.
Oh gosh, I'm only 40.
Greta's like can't hear anymore.
Well, she does a backflip off the stairs and breaks her ankle.
Oh, she gets a neck
Oh,
brace.
she gets I love Buzz
She gets
neck brace.
the neck brace.
And then there's like a callback to earlier where Grandma says something like, you just don't see it coming till it's too late.
Yeah.
And then the son, after the hibachi hits him in the head, he's like, I guess you just don't see it till it's too late.
Yeah, there's callback. Yeah, of course, there's callbacks to like being old and getting old, and like Grandma's trying to talk to her. It's like, call the ambulance, the doctor, whatever. Your dad's got a hibachi on his head, and they're like, what? And she's like, God, listen up, I said. Because everybody's always yelling at her because she can't hear,
and she throws it back in their face, and I kind of love it. Because she's even like,
awesome.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
Yeah, she's getting all fucking saucy.
So then we get down to like the final day.
Oh man, she's getting ready to leave, and she is dressed to the nines. She's got her little hat on with the feathers and the
flowers on
the nice
dress,
and they're all having like food or cake or something.
I love Dad has like this bandage on his head. It looks like he's got a bra on his head.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah, he's like Tithead from Little Nicky.
Little bit. They got the party hats on.
Yeah.
Like, why are you partying? Grandma's going to the old folks' home.
They're having a party for Grandma,
I guess. And they're like, Grandma.
A farewell party?
Yeah. And they're like, Grandma, you still never told us your wish. What was it? Meanwhile, they're now at like you said, liver spots. Their face is starting to look old.
This is great because Dad just starts trailing off about a story and getting all of the details wrong.
Yeah, he starts, when I was 12, I snuck in and watched my mom.
And then, like I was saying, when I was 10, I went in the back and I did the thing.
And they're like, you were 12 and it was this. And then Grandma repeats the story like verbatim. And it's this cool scene where, she's like reliving the past in like a positive way.
Yeah. She's like, it was one of the best nights. You were looking at me from the balcony. You were loving it.
You were so beautiful that night, Mom.
I thought that was sweet.
Yeah.
And then Humdinger Hill's fucking Buddy Holly comes and he's like, okay, Grandma, all ready to go?
And then you just hear like the rest of the family like chattering in the background.
Yeah.
She's like, I think the rest of them want to go with me. And he's like,
huh?
Okay. He walks in. His fucking jaw unclenches just about. He's like,
it falls off. It's
yeah.
the ground. It's the ground with the
like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Everybody's old at the table and like disgustingly weird looking old. It kind of looks like Kaz in that one part of My Demon Lover, like the weird makeup when he's when the fat bald guy.
Yeah.
So she got her. So Grandma got her wish, and it holds on Grandma's face for the end of this, and she's just cracking this smile the whole time.
Yeah, she's like,
so fuck your family, I guess.
I don't know what the message is on this one, but it's funny.
Don't make fun of old people. Be nice.
Yeah,
be nicer. Because one day you're gonna be old, and it's not gonna be so nice.
I think you just nailed it.
Yeah. So what did you think of this episode?
I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
It's like another comedy one, and I know like the show doesn't always go to comedy, but when it does, so far at least they kind of nail it every time. Maybe not the Jin No Chaser, but that's a whole different topic altogether.
That one's rough.
That might be the only bad comedy episode, if you want to call it comedy.
So far,
sure. Like I said,
don't count your chickens.
There's a lot of seasons left.
Yeah.
But it balances comedy with this like kind of serious topic about how maybe people treat their elders in the family and just in general, and maybe like we talked about in the episode, Grandma just wants to sit there and chat and no one wants to even give her the time of day. And it's kind of fucked up how they just push her to the side and treat her like she's just being a pain in the ass when really she just wants to hear about her granddaughter's day. Trying to say, hey, I got dancing genes. Why are you doing gymnastics? Do some dancing. You can really make a living out of it. Telling her son, she's a pain in the ass because it's her son, but like trying to watch out for him. Why are you eating donuts all the time? Have a little bran flake, son.
Fix the damn deck.
Yeah.
The step on the deck because you're going to fall and bust your ass, which he does.
Yeah.
On his rump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got a good balance of comedy and seriousness, and it blends really well. And it's kind of funny and interesting, honestly, how it kind of flows. How in the beginning, Grandma's basically has all these issues, and then like about the midpoint, it starts to tip in the other direction.
Yeah.
I really like that. It's different. It's memorable. And it's just a trip.
It's a weird episode, and I really like it, and it's surprisingly dark. Like it looks light and funny on the outside, but like there is a kind of the social commentary running underneath just below the surface of this is really fucked up.
It's definitely dark comedy.
Yeah, no, big time, but it's written like superbly because it never feels too hand-fisted, kind of. It's a good episode. I love how, everybody gets their comeuppance, and then they have to slow down, and then they start like deteriorating and falling apart. You know what I mean? And kind of witnessing grandma's needs that they should have paid a little bit more attention to. Like, what happens to them at the end? Do they just fucking wither away and die? Do they go to the old folks' home with her?
I mean, $650 a month times 4. I don't know, but
who's
maybe
footing the bill for this?
Maybe Dad's got a really good job. He's got that hibachi in the closet.
Well, it's possible because maybe.
And Mom looks like she's got a pretty good job too herself.
I think Grandma's loaded too.
I think they're all loaded.
She was like famous. She was on Broadway, right? So maybe it's petty, but also enlightening.
Yes,
and I like it a lot.
I think the show does that a lot, and it's very good at it.
So yeah, I don't know if it warrants being a Darkside episode, but there are a lot of dark themes running through this. Again, just you scratch that surface just a little bit, and you can see it all there in full display. Yeah, not my favorite. It's a good episode. I think it's fine, and I like the music in it. I think it's funny, and I love just like how grandma's kind of like revenge in general.
Oh yeah,
is fun. I don't know.
Grandma wishes she had the hug a bunch. She wanted to push him in that mirror and have them be devoured.
Jane Connell, who plays Grandma, is just funny as hell. Like, her comedic timing is perfect, and she has the perfect balance of like being an old lady and then like being able to snap back and be like, oh yeah, well fuck you.
The facial expressions are gold.
So funny. And the the olive jokes and the toothbrush jokes.
Well, speaking about we didn't mention it, when they're at that final dinner, she's just sitting there with a jar of olives,
she is
pounding
them. Yeah. She's like, I got my olives now.
I love that.
Yeah, it's a fun episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Grandma's Last Wish. And until next time, I'm Joel Lascola.
And I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Tales from the Darkside is always there, waiting for us to watch it, waiting for us to hit play. Until next time, try to find it on DVD and watch along with us.